All right. So, who is ready to learn about HR? You guys have made it to the land of HR. Woo! You guys have made it to the land of Toby from The Office. You made it to the land of paperwork and processes and workman's comp and legal battles. This is the place you want to be. Who is ready to complete the HR functions for their organization? Okay, really. I know, HR does get a bad rap. Sometimes we have a bad reputation, and with all of its complexities and technicalities, sometimes HR can be a little overwhelming. But fear not. Today is the day for change. My name is Vanderburg, and I'm here today to help simplify HR in a way that is a little bit more understood. We're going to be able to understand HR. We're going to see the value, the importance of HR, and see how engaging and, dare I say, fun human resources can be. Are you guys ready for this journey? Woo! You see, I've worked within HR for about 7 years now in corporate America, in small businesses, in international corporations, and in nonprofits and associations as well. And what I found throughout all of this is that HR is a little bit less of this and really can be broken down into 4 basic functions. So we have recruitment, compensation and benefits, people development, and employee relations. It's a bunch of mumbo jumbo. Let's simplify that even more. It's all about our team. We are so basic here in HR. We just have to build our teams. We have to pay our team. We have to develop our team, and we have to keep them. You want to keep them on board. So there's a lot of, so this is basically all that HR consists of. Of course, we have to begin with building our team. Let's go back a little bit before that. First, we have to decide what the values and the beliefs are of our organization. So find out what you're all about, and then find people that share those same values and those same beliefs. There's a quote by Jim Collins that says, "A great vision without great people, it's pretty irrelevant." So you want to have people that are sharing the same values and beliefs that you have within your organization. Once you have that, it's important to be picky, right? You want to be very protective of the people that you allow into your family, okay? This is going to be the people that are going to bring you forward. So let's ask ourselves, what's our dream team look like? Take a moment, really think, what does your dream team look like? What does your email inbox look like with your dream team?
Oh, amen.
Right? What do those water cooler conversations look like? What projects are you working on with your dream team? Got it in your head? Good. Now you know what you're looking for in your team. Okay? And now, so now that we have our team, we can continuously look. We can know what questions to ask. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Amber, I have a need that is today. I don't have time to be picky. I don't have time. I have a position that needs filled yesterday. I have needs that are right now. I'm going to bring someone in, they're going to fill this need. We just need to move forward. I don't have time to be picky. Well, whenever I was working with a group of 12-year-old boys in India, we were playing soccer and I was coaching them. And I gave them time to have a scrimmage. And so we split up our teams. And I had a young lad named Ganesh. Ganesh was a wonderful soccer player. And his team asked him to be defender. Well, Ganesh did not feel like being defender that day. And so he told his team, said, "No, I will not be defender that day." His team said, "Okay. If you can be defender for half the game, you're our best defender. Once you be defender half the game, then we'll let you be striker the second half." Well, the whistle blew. The scrimmage began. Ganesh went into the defender position, crossed his arms, and he said, "I will not be defender today." The opposing team came, they whisked past Ganesh, and they scored a goal. The opposing team was his team was so furious with them. They said, Ganesh, we need you to be defender. We have a need. We need a defender. Ganesh said, no, I will not be defender today. So, the other team came, they whisked past Ganesh again, and they scored a second goal. By this point, Ganesh's team was so furious. They said, Ganesh, we want you off this field. We want you off this team. We would rather play a man down than to have to rely on someone who is unreliable. These are 12-year-old boys. They're figuring this out. Hey, we're going to play a man down. We don't want to have someone on our team that's not going to be reliable. We have a need. We need a defender. We're going to put someone that values playing our best on this team and not someone who just wants to score goals. The team did not let any more goals in for the rest of that scrimmage. And Ganesh sat out and they played a man down. It's important that you take the time to build your team of superstars. Okay? So that's the position, the organization, the industry. He says that there's three things. You need to look for applicants that are hungry, applicants that are humble, and applicants that are smart. By this I simply mean applicants that want to learn, right? That they're hungry, that they are eager to learn more. Applicants that are humble. They're not going to let ego get in the way. They're going to be there and they want to learn. And then applicants that are smart, that have the ability, right? And if we are not looking for these applicants that are humble, hungry, and smart, if we're not building our dream team, then we start getting a little desperate. And we start advertising a little under our standards.
What am I looking at? Sign me up.
You see, we want to be able to have high standards for our team. We want to be able to build the best organization that we can. And so we want to have people that are humble, hungry, and smart that are part of our dream team. When it comes to building our team, there's one. Where are we finding our people? Are we going to our schools? What are we doing? And so you have to find how you're going to get these dream team to join the dark side. Join us or die. That's actually from a marketing firm. So how are you going to get your people to join the dark side? And building your team really is the most important part, or the beginning most important part of your organization. The people in your team, they're going to be the ones that help you realize your dream. If you have a dream that you can achieve all by yourself, you're not dreaming big enough. You need to have your dream team with you. As Burger King likes to remind us, the secret ingredient, it's in our people. Too bad. It's in our people. So you want to be able to build your dream team. Now, on to a point that everyone, especially your employees, are going to appreciate. You have to pay your team. This is a huge part of human resources. And HR, paying your team can really be broken down into two aspects, and that's compensation and benefits. So this really means the pay that you're getting, the wages, and the benefits to working at your organization. Now, when it comes to pay, there's three things that you really need to look into and how you're going to pay your employees. So a lot of times I encourage organizations to look at the position, look at your organization, and to look at the industry. What's the market doing there? And by looking at these three aspects in the market, you can get a good ballpark about what is fair and equitable pay for your employees. You don't want to overshoot and stifle your budget, and you don't want to undershoot and stiff your employees. So these are good tools that you can use to find the most equitable pay for your employees. Now, as businesses continue to grow and organizations grow, Many companies and organizations begin to look at different HR software systems that will help them be more efficient and effective in paying their employees. You may get behind on some things, pay is not one of them. All of your employees would appreciate that. And so while there are a myriad of HR software systems that you can use for your organization, here's a brief guideline on what you may want to look at when analyzing what HR software system might be the best for you. So for starting organizations, you really just need to look at payroll, time and attendance, and personnel tracking. Again, there's so many options out there. You don't want to pay so much for something if you just need basic needs. As you continue to grow, looking at performance management, benefits administration, and applicant tracking. It's only once you get larger that you're going to look into onboarding, compensation management, and learning management. HR software systems can get so complex, and so it's important to find exactly what your needs are so that you can find a software system that's good for you, if that is needed. The next part is compensation, or is benefits. So benefits is really the fun part of paying your team. There are encyclopedias worth of benefit options that you can have for your organization. Some people have an on-site chef, some people have a masseuse, some people walk your dog, some people, have gym, they have daycare systems, they have the regular 401k, health insurance, life insurance. The options are limitless. And so sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming deciding what benefits you can apply for your organization and for your employees and how you can help them out the best. Well, first, it's important to make sure that you pick benefits that are going to be applicable to your employees. There are some things like, let's say, life insurance that you think everybody has to have that. Well, I worked for an organization that we had that 99% of the employees were under the age of 18, or 15, 16, 17. Do we have to provide life insurance? What they really wanted was free passes to the pool. As we found that was the benefit that they wanted for their organization, for that organization. So it's really important to look at the position, the organization, the industry that you're in to best find the benefits that are going to benefit your organization the best. The other thing is to monitor and track what benefits are being used. So where is there a need that's not being met? What benefits are being used and are not? Whenever I was student body president at the University of Oklahoma, Boomer Sooner, Amber, it's an Amber thing. We found that a lot of our student body was suffering with anxiety and depression. There was a mental health epidemic going on throughout our student population. The University of Oklahoma did have an on-site counselor to help alleviate with that. However, many of the students, most of the student population, didn't even know that that was an option that was offered to them. And the few that didn't know where the counselor was. And so it wasn't that the benefit was not needed. It was simply that we had done a poor job of communicating what those benefits were and how they could access them. Same way that Andy Dwyer didn't really know what a deductible was. So it's important to find the benefits that work best for your organization and then communicate that clearly to your employees. Now, the first two aspects of human resources are pretty basic, so basic. Of course you do. Hello. Of course you do have to build a team, you have to have employees, and you have to pay them. And with this, you could function as an organization, but it's the second two aspects of HR that really have to be intentional. If I own an NFL football franchise, I can find the best football players and I can pay them a whole lot of money. Surely their former experience and their education in football is going to give them the skills that they can perform and do well on the field. But if I don't continue to coach and to grow my team, whenever I put them out on the field on a fall Sunday, they'll function, but are we going to win games? Probably not. And so it's really important that we continue to develop our people. So this is really the important part, where we develop our people. A lot of times people know that it is the number one reason why people quit a job is because of poor management. However, the second most common reason on why people quit a job is a lack of opportunity for growth. This is our opportunity to not only build our great team, but to continue to develop our team, to get even better. Whenever I was over in India for Paris Saint-Germain, it's a French football club, we found that we were recruiting some of the best coaches in the world, and they were coming over to our team and only staying about 3 to 6 months. We had extremely high turnover. And so I worked with the CEO to find out why that was so high. We found a few things. First, many of our employees were coming over from a Gap website, or they were coming over for a short term. They were professional soccer players that were coming over in the off season to coach for a short time, and we were relying on them to stay for longer. And so we adjusted where we found our people. The second biggest thing was that people were coming over from Europe and Australia and the Americas to live in a place like India and in different parts of Asia, which is one of the more difficult places for an expat to adapt. And we didn't have an orientation program, so there was a massive learning curve from a Gap website, or they were coming over for a short term. They were professional soccer players that were coming over in the off season to coach for a short time, and we were relying on them to stay for longer. And so we adjusted where we found our people. The second biggest thing was that people were coming over from Europe and Australia and the Americas to live in a place like India and in different parts of Asia, which is one of the more difficult places for an expat to adapt. And we didn't have an orientation program, so there was a massive learning curve for our new employees. And so we implemented an orientation program for our new employees to adapt them to the new culture, to the business, to the training dynamics of our coaches. These are some of our new coaches that we brought on. The third biggest reason, and this was the largest, on why our employees were leaving is because coaches have an innate need to continue to grow. Out on the field, every single day, our coaches are telling our players, you have to continue to get better. Always look for those opportunities to get better. And we weren't providing the opportunities for our coaches to continue to improve. And so we implemented a lot of continuing education opportunities for our coaches. Because what they were doing is they were coming, they were learning all they could, and then they hit a dead end. So if I can't grow here, I'm going to grow somewhere else. So you want to grow them at your company, at your organization. It's what you want to do for your family as well. Your work family is your family, right? So these were the opportunities that we wanted to provide. And through all of this, we were building a culture of continuous improvement. We were building a culture of family. And culture sometimes is used quite a bit. And so I just wanted to find what this is. A culture is a team of people with shared values and beliefs. What do we say at the very beginning? We want to define what our values and beliefs are. And then we build our team. We pay our team. We develop our team. The truth of the matter is culture is going to happen no matter what, whether or not you're intentional. A backstabbing, toxic, manipulative culture, that's a culture. And a warm, supporting, family-like culture is also a culture. The difference is the intentionality with which you build and you develop and you pay your team. And so, this was a way that we continue to grow our people with PSG. The last aspect of human resources is keeping your team. So as we just said, your work family is a family, and you want to keep them, and you want to keep them in your team. Retention begins with culture. Retention also ends with culture. But like a family sitcom, families fight. And that's okay. Sometimes it's not as cordial as the Brady Bunch. And this is the part of human resources where sometimes we have to act as maybe the referee or the counselor. This is our opportunity to have those tough conversations within our family. And sometimes this cannot be easy. However, it is important if we want to keep the culture that we've created. Unfortunately, sometimes it does result in asking people to be successful elsewhere. Most of the time, it can be resolved through an action plan. It can be resolved through conversations, through rapport. And so, in human resources, we have a few mantras that we say in regarding family disputes. So first off, you have to be respectful. You have to be respectful to the family that you're in. You have to listen. You have to see what can be resolved. Second, you have to write it down. In HR, we have a saying, if you didn't write it down, it doesn't mean it happened. So you have to write it down. And this is a great way to really hold yourself and your organization accountable to the actions that you made. So you're holding yourself accountable to the high standards that you've set for your organization. And it's from this that we are able to continue to solve those issues and keep people on board. My last piece of advice is probably the most important. And in fact, it is the most important when it comes to HR and being an organizational leader in general. You have to communicate. If your organization is doing something, you have to communicate that. The worst mistake you can make in communication is assuming that it's happening. You can't assume that communication is happening. You have to be intentional about the way that you communicate with your team and within your organization. Whenever I was working with the basketball program, I tell them, if you are in trouble and you don't tell your teammates, how are they going to know to support you? If you're backed up in a corner and you're guarded, you need support. But if you don't say anything, no one's coming. If you're playing basketball and you get open, and you never say, hey, I'm open, how are they going to know to pass you the ball? You have to communicate. You have to communicate often. I was working at a Canadian international school. We had 16 different nationalities in one team and a lot of languages. It was quite the challenge. And as we came on to practice one day, I had a kid who was 6 years old, and he was just starting to play soccer. And so he ran out onto the field, and he started yelling, pass, pass, pass! His name was Achintya, and I noticed that Achintya, he was yelling pass even whenever he was miles away from the ball. And I noticed that Achintya, he was yelling pass even whenever the other team had the ball. And I noticed that Achintya was yelling pass even when he had the ball. And so he was running with the ball going pass, pass, pass. And so I asked Achintya, I said, why are you yelling pass? He said, Miss Amberman. People oftentimes didn't know if I was a miss or a ma'am, so my name in India was Miss Amber Ma'am. And so he said, Miss Amberman, I do not know what the word means. I only know it is a football word. And so I explained to Achintya, if you're in the wrong position, if the other team has the ball, if you're miles away from the action, then yelling pass is not only ineffective, but it can actually be detrimental to the overall communication within your team. You have to be in the right position. You have to be moving forward. So that's how Achintya learned the word pass. Last story. This is one of the human resources team that I work with. This is one of our recruitment teams. And together, we build our team. We pay our team. We develop them and we retain. A lot of times human resources gets a bad rap. And yeah, it can be a lot of paperwork. It can be a lot of tough conversations. But it also is such a meaningful part of our organization. This is where success begins. Success begins in your team. Begins in how you respect your team, how you build your team, how you're developing your people. Again, if you have a dream that you can accomplish all on your own, you're not dreaming big enough. You have to have your team in order to accomplish your big goals. And these are some ways that you can effectively and efficiently build your team so that you can accomplish your greatest dreams. Thank you, guys.